What power? Crazy! This is the force of people's will!
You taking the mick? It's terrifying. Not knowing how tomorrow will turn out. How you will.
But still, you can't just hold it in place. If you did that, you'd never change. You can't change the world like that.
That's why I want to move on. We'll claim the future and shape it ourselves.
And when you cannot choose, what then? In that desperate moment, who will be there to soothe you? The self is all that exists. As such, the only cure for despair is total oblivion. That is the face of the world. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. This rotten world, I loathe it.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 takes place in a world ruled by the dead. Let me explain. Two warring factions, Kevis and Agnes, are locked in eternal conflict. Soldiers are grown, live 10 years, and have to kill and absorb the life force of other soldiers within those 10 years if they wish to make it to the end. The ones who die prematurely are reincarnated, the ones who reach the end of their term successfully are allowed a permanent death, and for a lucky few, Zed, the main antagonist and orchestrator of the conflict, plucks them from death, restores all memories from all their past lives, gives them unlimited brain to feed off the lives of others for as long as they want to, and a colony to govern. It's revealed later that Zed and Mobius's goal is to keep the war going indefinitely in order to maintain something called the Endless Now. Basically, the two worlds that the world of All Rest is recycled from are about to end. These two sides built a supercomputer named Origin to reboot both, once this happens, into a single reality. Now Zed is an entity made from the collective fear of this reboot not working, and chose instead to freeze time and create a fixed, unchanging world that will never end, propagated on a state of endless suffering because, hey, it's better than an unknown future, right? Now, your party is given the power of Ouroboros, which both frees them from the need to harvest lives altogether, and lets them take on a similar transformation to Mobius, albeit a bit more heroic looking. In a sense, the world has to end in order for the new one to start, and it's your job to bring it about. Nobody knows what it'll be like once that happens, not even Zed, so in its place, reality has become a sort of timeless mishmash of different eras. Mark Fisher describes the 21st century as kind of a similar deal. It always feels like it's about to start, but it always feels like it hasn't. So, there's an essay published in Ghosts of My Life that talks about the state of British music. In the early 90s, sound evolved at a breakneck pace, while new genres seemed to spring out of nowhere. Coming out of 80s new wave and genres like techno, this rapid movement was expected to continue with the advent of things like drum and bass. And then Britpop happened. Now, Mark loved drum and bass. His first exposure to Rufige Cruise, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Ghosts of My Life, was considered a foundational experience for him, and he seems to hold artists like Goldie in pretty high regard. Britpop, on the other hand...
The phony face-off between blur and voices, which preoccupy the media, was a distraction from the real fault lines in British music culture at the time. The conflict that really mattered was between a music which acknowledged and accelerated what was new in the 90s, technology, cultural pluralism, genre innovations, and a music which took refuge in a monocultural version of Britishness, a swaggering white boy rock built almost entirely out of forms that were established in the 1960s and 1970s. This was a music designed to reassure anxious white males in a moment when all of the certainties they had previously counted in work, sexual relations, ethnic identity, were coming under pressure. As we now know, Britcock would win the struggle.
I low-key agree, by the way. Zed's goal is to instill what Alex Williams calls negative solidarity. Instead of fighting Zed for liberation, people who become Mobius take all of that pain they experienced in life, and they pretty much turn it back around on the people of Kevis, Agnes, and the city, and take active joy in it the whole time. Mobius and conservative ideology as a whole is inherently self-destructive in this way. It's based in self-hate externalized onto others. Now, Metalheads, Rufige Crew's and Goldie's label uses a robotic skull as a symbol. Not really by coincidence. Jungle, drum and bass, whatever you want to call it, was about embracing the unknown. You had to. It was baked into the music itself. It sounded completely alien. And now what I find interesting is that Ouroboros forms are distinctly robotic and alien, mirroring Mobius's more organic designs. They draw upon snake imagery as well, an animal mostly associated, at least here in the West, with death and forbidden knowledge. On the flip side, N, Noah's past incarnation that abandoned Ouroboros for Mobius, has no transformation at all. He stays human, air quotes, to keep an uncertain future from being brought about. On the other hand, Ouroboros adapts to that fear and chooses to make the unknown a part of themselves, which is then reflected in their outside appearance when they interlink. N is a pessimist who thinks he's a realist. By extension, this is the very foundation of Zed and Mobius themselves. And this is called out by Noah in possibly one of my favorite moments in a work of fiction, ever.
If the world holds our lives back, I will end it! It's as simple as that! It is impossible. I tried. We tried to walk that path and failed. You're full of shit! You never tried, you're just a coward! What to do? If you meant it, you'd have found a way, but you didn't even try to make the effort! Did you? So what do you know of the world and of life? Ah!
N doesn't know for certain that Zed can't be stopped, and Zed doesn't know for certain what'll happen if he allows time to move forward again. N could not confront the deep-seated emotions holding him back and transform them into something productive, giving in and ultimately becoming a tool of the system he once fought against. He's chosen to accept reality, except not really. It's more like accepting a false version of reality that just happened to become the dominant way of thinking. I really gotta read Capitalist Realism.
He's killing more of our friends, the more we hate him. There has got to be a way. What if we... But then...
What? Did you think of something? Come on!
The flame clock. What if we smashed it?
You what? How should I know something like... Do you mean...
What if we just end up killing everybody?
If we keep fighting like this, we're all dead.
Rock in a hard place, huh?
So, I worry that with the advent of AI art and social media algorithms ruining everything, the temptation to overcorrect and go offline and be more quote-unquote authentic gets stronger. This overcorrection then bleeds into culture, and we increasingly pedestalize older and more traditional production techniques. Think lo-fi genres or music that is intentionally underproduced and meant to have kind of a raw sound to it, along with either adding film grain to movies shot on digital or just shooting on film. But when I think back to the AI dark fantasy and Wes Anderson trends a couple years back, what if this has the opposite effect, and it just ends up further flattening art into a monolith?
But everything in Vegas speaks of someone who can't let it go. House sticks a shovel to history's graves, props up the dead, then puts words in their mouths. The tribes don't even know how they were broken. Not a world I want to be a part of, going through motions until we're all smiling faces on some robot's screen. Vegas is old world, filled with old world ghosts. And ghosts need the living to do their work.
In the same way drum and bass allowed for speeds that were borderline impossible for a human drummer to physically play, shouldn't we be stretching the limits of our current non-Gen AI technology to its breaking point, seeking new, unorthodox ways to interact with, modify, and utilize the tools that we've been given, instead of letting people like Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos to dictate those terms for us? I want to stay optimistic that taking a path like that is possible. Xenoblade 3, Drum and Bass, and Mark Fisher's Ghost of My Life all tell us the same thing. Learn from and mourn the past without letting it dictate the present.
It's a subculture, right? And there's only been 5 subcultures in the world, you know what I mean? That have made world music. Jazz and blues, you know, hip-hop, reggae, Detroit techno, and UK drum and bass.
Acknowledge the present reality for what it is, with all its uncertainty. Mark stressed the importance of accepting reality in order to change it. And finally, lean into what scares you, fully knowing that both you and the world around you may become completely alien in the process, because the alternative is letting powerful people like Zed control the very flow of time itself.